YouTube thumbnails are burdened by glorious purpose, and it is to grab the attention of your ideal viewers. If there's a high percentage of people clicking on your videos, it would mean that these videos have a high click-through rate. And this is one of the main factors that will trigger the YouTube algorithm to recommend your videos to more people. Within just 3 seconds, your viewers need to be able to grasp the idea of what your topic is all about. Keep it as clean and clear as possible and avoid all clutter on your thumbnails. This will help to reduce the amount of processing that we need to do when we're looking at things visually. For example, workout videos. The equipment and the exact move that they'll be doing in the video, that will be the main highlight. For tech videos, focus on the gadgets or the software icon. By the way, you don't have to implement every single strategy or tip within this entire video. I would recommend that you just experiment with a few and see which one resonates best with your audience. The next tip I have is to trigger emotions. You should ask yourself, what do you want the viewer to feel before, during, and after watching this particular video? You can use expression on people's faces to amplify these emotions. It's not absolutely necessary, but it's the most common and easiest way to do so. For example, a happy face when you're discussing a video on how to make more money. Or maybe it's about discussing an item that is super duper cheap that they just cannot believe it. Or a scared face when you realize that you're going through a very scary video game in your Let's Play video. Tease, don't tell. You want to invoke curiosity and keep them guessing. You need to balance between clearly communicating what the video is about, but at the same time, you don't want to be too literal and give the answer away. Let the viewer guess what happens in between, or what is the process to get from point A to point B. An example is in this video where I showed the best settings for the C922 webcam. I clearly put a before and after image of what it feels like after you're getting these settings done. Another example is to use arrows and annotations within the thumbnail itself. So you can use this to highlight different areas of the thumbnails and make people squint their eyes a little bit to find out more about, hey, what's that spot over there? Did I miss something in that movie scene? Another good example is to blur out certain parts of the image or use a silhouette. This way, the viewer will have a rough idea of what it is, but not enough, so they'll need to still click on that video to find out more. Next, you gotta make text readable. It is not compulsory to have text in your thumbnails. However, if you are using it, I would recommend to keep it to 5 or less. And if you're using text, never, ever, ever use these fonts. It's a graphic designer's worst nightmare, and it will be your viewer's worst nightmare too. Also, stick to just 2 variations of fonts. If you're using this one already and this one right here, don't add this one. Only choose 2. Place text in front of other objects, specifically squares and rectangles. So, like this. Yep. Isn't that very readable? Like, it's super clear, right? Whatever's on screen right now, you should absolutely do this. Apart from that, you can also use outlines and shadows to make it more readable, like this. Yep, whatever's on screen now, just do it. It's really, really good. Your thumbnails need to have familiarity and also brand recognition. You see, when a new viewer discovers you for the first time and they click on one of your videos, at the end of that video, YouTube will start recommending and experimenting with your other content. And whenever the viewer is going through the experience, there'll be other videos being recommended as well, and you want that viewer to immediately spot your content. And the more they click on your videos, the more YouTube will keep recommending them. So how do you add branding elements to your thumbnails? Well, here's a couple of ways. The first one is to use the right font types, and I mean being consistent and keep using the same fonts. Next is to have brand colors on your thumbnails. You should have at least one primary and secondary color. You can also add your face when there's nothing else more important to put onto the thumbnail. And then you can also add your brand logo. Just make sure that it doesn't cover too much of the screen, because usually you want to reserve that space, that real estate, for text and also the subject of that video. In fact, if you want to see a step-by-step process of how to make a thumbnail, check out this video I made right here. Link will also be in the description below.